There it goes. This one. Hello. Today is the 10th of February. We're 2023. Mm. I should talk about what is within in the second week of the month for that which is inside. Is what's feeling inside, what's forming inside, the values which constitute the composition within all its boundaries of the self, beliefs, what targets are natural from others and not, desires that are natural within the self of the nature, the disposition and the stillness, because that's something that never changes. There are some things that never change and can go through many lives as well, because you like to do that. Sometimes it could be from any direction. Or from any form, but you like to do that. Sometimes it's just beyond your culture or beyond yourself. It's something that you do it well and you like to do it again, and it might never be fulfilled because it's something that you like to do. Sometimes, as time moves on, one gets to understand certain dominations of that and get to experience more and more beyond that which is already been part of oneself and has been already dominated. So one gets to look forward into the same thing that's within, but could be greater or worst. It could be more talented and powerful or skill and complex, because the greater the the more entanglement it has and complexities to its form, or is to just resist and keep it as it was, because not every form within is in the mode of. Some are just to reject, to fight against, and all the energy is consumed just to keep things as they are. And you can see that among cultures. They've been for not centuries, but millenniums of years in the same way. So even if people don't tell you or it's not in their books, they share this understanding, which is also against their own personal growth and insight growth, inner growth. Um, it could be as beautiful and as sickening. So then we would ask ourselves, what is healing? How could you heal yourself or a society itself? Or how could you, just by moving away, like some masters from China did? They moved away to the Tibet because it was impossible to continue. Because China didn't just happen like that. It was this long movement. This last 100 years didn't just happen like that. It was a strong movement from Italy against the empire and a political grooming through intellectuals and political conversations. But it is always moving against something. so so basically it's because we don't know how to keep things together and value what we already have. So we don't know how to talk with each other and mediate unless it's business or a benefit that is just for gratification, where I'm gonna have this coffee, not necessarily because it gives me energy, but I love the flavor. And sometimes we're following a tradition that makes us feel home. A tradition that is from childhood, is being alone and proving you're going to be the best in whatever you are going to do, or because you love your parents. They're doing all this for you as their parents were doing for them. Then I was thinking again and again, as I was thinking around it and again, because to maintain what you have is regenerating. To maintain what you have and have a self authority over your property, let's say that you are conscious and you are the owner of your impulses and decisions, and is to maintain on what you have, or you just allowing yourself flow by the great tendency, because everyone is following there and you're part of it, and then of course, like, yeah, well, so it's like there is not a connection there really, because there is not been established um, relationship that is not just healing, but it reconstructs insistingly as a priority towards that direction. So when there is been so much corruption and so much impositions of belief, the self doesn't think very well. So there is a sickening force inside where everyone is ready to go to hell and enter into a sickening situation. And no matter how much enjoyment you can have in life and peacefulness and all your needs covered, or basic needs, more or less, I mean, I don't have much of my human rights because my work has been stolen, so my intellectual property is being stolen. I have given it and it's been stolen, so there are no rights. Can be stolen anytime because I am in another country with strangers. So I do not have my family or connection resources to protect myself as well. My country has been damaged by United States of America with all the guns they have sent with the CIA for the last 2 decades. So yeah, to destroy us. That's how they want to conquer the world and say they're the leaders of the world by stealing and making people believe they're superior, of course. And people buy into that and they go and follow that. And they will fight for that as well to belong, in order to belong. So nice. So nice. And keep the entertainment rolling because everyone is hopeless deep inside. So that is sickening because there is no connection to. Of course, it works for your money, it works for your pocket, it works for your glamorous fame, it works for your continuous regeneration with the public, is to create more and more content and be with the tendencies of the horrors of the world, which everyone is attracted because there is no much else to do but go after the money, make more money, and look good, which is great, of course. I've, I've done that. Everyone has done that, more or less, at least to look decent or acceptable. See, you can be so easily judged just by what you look. People can be fooled so well. So, I mean, I've done that all my life. I've fooled and been fooled all my life, consciously, unconsciously, and subconsciously, especially subconsciously, because it's more fun. You don't have to think about it too much. So, I mean, when you're smart enough, you know you can get away from anything. You don't care too much. Another thing, being too smart is a good because there's always a part of your brain which it is very stupid. Like, it's to create the balance because can get very boring to think that you are very smart and know it all. So it's like a pull between the crazy and the genius. So at least there's a relation there and there's a connection there. Now, um, it's comforting, it's healing, it nourishes, it makes you regenerate, and at the same time have your sense of gravity in this earth to go out there. Uh, Most of the time, if not stimulated by outside forces, because to some extent you wouldn't be able to do anything by yourself unless you follow. As a role player, sometimes it changes. Not every season you are the same. Some 5 years you are in this way, some other 3 years you are in that way, exploring different modalities, keeping just to keep what the groups that you already have is already a lot. And it requires that you do it by instinct. I've asked for friends to keep a certain schedule, but they don't because they want to role play as they feel like. And nobody in the world of role play has reasonable meetings. Everything is based. I'm not going to talk about it because I haven't been paid for my work. The metaverse is being stolen. I have sent it to Bill Gates. He owns me a response. Also, the person in between that I have sent owns me a response. They don't care about others, I guess, and they think to be very special, to make themselves more special with what they can get from others because they can do it, and there is no law who can stop them. They can be regulated because they need to keep their social status. It's like a fashion where everyone agrees, like, yeah, but it is because they feel that's more important and that is more powerful. And it's been agreeable by a majority. So, war, weapons of mass destruction are the number one. My mother used to say that because she used to make a lot of money distributing clothes to Spain. And before she would do that in Venezuela, um, she had boats with cargo from London, New York, and in Spain she had from France. But she still liked to keep looking for fashion around the world, traveling to depending of the era because of the tendencies that on demand and where those materials were found of better quality or and cheaper as well. For example, in the mid 80s, the lycra started to make a boom. So she found out that in Brazil, the lycra was the best quality and strong, and she was the one who introduced lycra to Spain. In those moments, people were very conservative. There were a few punks, but not really like everyone going pop. And it is healing for each generation to restore what the other one has given you, and at the same time bring your own fashion because it is refreshing from the other one. It's like a cycle that it's refreshing and you're all getting together because uh, you feel it is up to yours. So it's representing not just with technology, with self-expression. People are learning to express themselves. People have to express themselves, and people don't know how to express themselves. Only in an old style way, which is, as I expressed already, by convenience, acceptability, in order to belong. Yeah, to make money for interest, convenience. So to create tendency, I've created a lot of tendencies. It's not. Mm, people would do anything for fame, for likes. I have seen it. I have seen that since I was a child. Why would you follow me? Okay, I did it because my mother taught me, and then I would just do it to prove I could. But then I would just again have the same emptiness. So why people don't just enjoy themselves and are creative? Why doesn't fulfill me to have people the why cannot they think by themselves? So it's been very I've been watching phenomenons like the Bishop of Canterbury. Well, here from the Anglican Church in United Kingdom. So he's very funny to watch, and he likes progress. And of course, this has been a long story from the spiritual world. And I might thank as well all those sannyasins from Osho who were from the Tibetan healing, because we had 5 schools within the multi-university of Osho that later, after he died, it was called a international meditation resort. 'Cause they wanted money. They were afraid because the master died. And the Jew producers from Hollywood left. They were the first ones to go because what are they going to do with all these l- lawless beings who have no creativity of their own? Which they were they were in charge of the mystery school. They would do acting. They would just get a podium, and in India we had this outdoors corridors of marble, of white marble, with all the plants on the sides. It would be 1.5 kilometer square with this white marble corridors. It was very beautiful. And meditation, the celebration, people hugging, working for free, and a lot of expression. There was a lot of expression, and also not being stuck with that, because you have hardcore meditations to put your heavy emotions out there. That's why it's so easy for me to enter into dark emotions, like if I'm playing a piano. Of course, some people will think that I am owned by these emotions, but it's just a play as a director and scriptwriter and actor of the tones of my own settings that I have created. So the Jews would do acts, they would get a podium, even though they come from families of producers, they wouldn't do acting, but they were multi-universal. That's what the seventh art do to you. And they will start on a rampage there with a comedy show and have this outrageous voice. And so I grew up with this. I grew up hugging them. I grew up listening about their stories. This one that I see making a comedy show, because they would just do it just out of for the love of the show. And and they would say it was the therapeutic, because the best friend of my mother, Nirupa, who they live together, is psychologist and neurologist. I learn a lot from their talks in the house, the reunions. Nirupa would talk a lot about him, I don't want to name people really, but um, he would dress like Jesus and start making a parody out of Jesus in the cross, and I found that a little odd. I said, "But he's a Jew." But well, uh, and of course, I was like the straight girl there. Nirupa used to do jokes about me as well to triangulate me with my mother. That's how she got a lot of money from my mother, which she later returned to her because my mother convinced her to stay longer. But I said, "But he's a Jew." She didn't understand the concept because Christian brought compassion with that, right? So he was doing a show because he was half naked like Jesus and he had the hair and the beard like him. And he just wanted to show off and call for attention and have more sexual carnage as the only virgin teenager there because they were all non-virgin. I was like none. I was I just was. I mean, I had different stages in my life, but then I was very like anti. I could tell what people would think. Like, you think you're so special because you're having sex, right? And I could see all these manipulations that adults would be so engaged with. I would be like, oh my god, like really? So Nirupa was never like a sex icon. Uh, My mother was always a person where people would reunite around her because there was a lot of sexual activity around my mother because she promoted that in her parties, not directly, I mean, but for people to meet, and that she always asked to bring more men or more women so it's more even the energy, and she would promote that as promoting the party, but not that there was orgies or anything like that. I mean, people would get there and meet, and there would be dancing and barbecues, things like that. The what happened in those times? So this my mother would give her clothes to feel sexy or special, like neon fuchsia with special materials that you could say is more glamorous because she was a plain doctor, right? So at that time, she would be in her late 40s, so or 50, I don't know. So it was the last time that she said she was saying because later on she were this was the conversations they were having. So it was very hurting to listen to their conversations and what this man would do to her, which was because uh, he was a sadist. He so Nirupa would tell him to do that with other women because he was not into that. But like locking her in the place where she works, she was locking her and leaving her alone. Things like that. Of a sadist. Many things, and he would say he would accept that he liked that. But she was saying that because they were both intellectuals, he was teaching her to break through her uh, controlling mind of knowing everything. And I mean, I was kind of like an observer as a teenager listening to these stories. And I have my other thoughts. I wouldn't talk because they were the adults. So for me, they were exploring things they never and daring, like if they were kids playing, right? So, and I believe the generation of my mother, who was born from a generation where they had dictators and a lot of sadness, very dry, like regime, and they were all so composed and caring to survive from these hungers and wars. Look at this hair. So it's like they will be passing on into another generation a form of rebellion so they could meet with each other however they could. And they would make up stories. But I mean, they gave us another generation where, I mean, we grew up with against an open world that was more together. Those were faraway wars that we would see in the TV, Vietnam, or well, I was maybe not very aware of the war in Vietnam, but there were things happening to my auntie, and I was not aware of it. They told me that was in the past, to not talk about it. And so in Argentina, things like that. My auntie never suffered because she was a social worker, but she had to live with what that which was going inside Argentina as part of her own. So she died virgin with cancer and very beautiful. I have much affinity with her. She wanted to be a nun, but she wanted to take care of my grandmother because my grandmother suffered a lot to just keep the children up. And my mother too gave to my grandmother a lot. So, in gratitude for everything she went through, just to keep the children alive from the horrors of those times. And I mean horrors when there is only work, only work and abusive men who take all your money or would mistreat her. She was the first one divorcing. So these transgenerational healings, and then the other generation, my mother would be the opposite of my auntie. And then you come back again and again and again and again. I mean, I'm not a saint, and I have done a lot of things in the name of healing, but I have been in the darkest places of this earth consciously because I thought there must be a way to pull a string out where a string that binds them all together and just go. There must be a connection there. So I thought Tantra, and my website was sexualhealing.org, but I didn't have sex or saliva. I mean, sex is a form of penetration. Um, I would have taken a lot of money from man by doing nothing at all. So most of the time, and I would keep studying to myself, how is this experiment happening, right? I wanted to dive into it all, but not necessarily having to give myself away into the sickness of others. So I was in control. I had bodyguards, and I had a lot of people that could protect me, of course, and take care, so I could perform my arts. And it was calculated, and if they would respond in such a way, I would respond in such a way, and if they wouldn't move a finger, then I wouldn't even move a finger. So if they would just be breathing, I would be just breathing. So, because man and woman, also these relationships are sickening as well. And they think to be manipulating the other, to be stuck with the other, to be part with the other. But they're not. They're just sharing a pathology. They are just have put themselves in a jail and limited themselves because we are infinite. And the moment you are with one person, you're stuck with that identity until you die, which is look older. This is why some men need to, but they're so afraid to leave women because they have this thing with mother of not leaving mother. They need to find out another woman. They need to find out other ideas, not just with women, but in the sense of walking out from the field that you know, what you have created it. And now where everything is going faster and everyone is copying each other faster. And in the world of fashion and business, of course, everyone copied everyone. But as my mother said, well, if you're on top of the tendency, you just have to keep creating tendency. And so we also copy. But at least we're the first ones because we are traveling around the world, and now people have internet, and there is no fashion now where it just moves through the TV or in the streets that you see it. It has fragmentized now. So I was called Tantra for 7 years. And I would have sex with whomever I wanted it, but it was because I wanted it. The thing is, the healing, the same thing that can be so healing can be so sickening. The same medicine can be so toxic, like the river Styx. The river Styx, there's a punishment where you cannot talk. You're silent for 7 years, and it's been put. Uh, I don't remember how many drops in your mouth, but you cannot put too many drops because it will kill you. Because this is a river from the underworld in mythology, not in reality. But it is a sense of understanding that that which can be regenerating is Venus sent Psyche to the underworld to get some drops of this river so she can recover her beauty. The goddess of beauty, the very goddess of beauty and love. Because she was becoming ugly with all her jealousy because her son Eros, Cupid, the angel Cupid in the Roman Empire and in the Greek original Greeks, Eros, which is depicted as the form of an angelical boy or baby boy, and also a monster. He has this duality, so we just see his angelical form, which is very playful. He's always in the air with wings because he's not a god that is like the Venus is finding her own realm. She has her palace, and these are hierarchical scenarios and forms of architecture that we must understand as science has. You will find material in certain places. You won't find it in the air or up in a tree, so it has its own gravity, not just for emotional transits or energetical fields, but also for traveling as such. And Eros is a god that is to be found in the air. So those who are in the air, such as Zeus and Hera, are of the highest hierarchy of all, even though they share a place, which is Olympus. Eros is to be found with the god Zephyr of the wind. I think it's the west wind. Dionysius, Hermes. Hermes is also Hermes is also multidimensional, and you will see he has feather sandals. He is also so we relate the air with the mind and symbols as the sword with the mind. So Eros is not the son of Venus. Eros is being adopted by Venus. Her original father is the god of wisdom, and her mother is the goddess Pita, the goddess of misery, which for the average public's eye, everyone from the Greek times is to reject misery and Pita. That's why people always reject people that look poor because it could bring back luck. So they are to close the door. But in the eyes of religion, and for those who give vows of poverty, they will find wisdom. That's why been said that they are the ones who have the fertility to create a goddess Eros, not Venus. In the contrary, Venus is like the opposite of the god of wisdom and piety. So it was an honor to give their son to her because it would have a greater education. It would be honored that it would have to learn from all of these values. So the very Zeus had to become Eros himself in order to create the world, because Eros represents the law of attractions and rejections in all the mechanisms of science and all the relations of science itself. So it's not just with an arrow to fall in love, but even all the natures. And the very Zeus is afraid of Eros because nobody wishes to fall in love with a destructive force. It could be as a natural catastrophe in Greek mythology. You have to study science for that, right? Or understand nature, understand the calamities, understand what's the blindness, the delusions for power. I think the power, like I wanted to say, like a power as Venus would have. That she's so jealous, she's so envious because she's being compared with Psyche. Psyche is a mortal. Like she became a goddess, but she was so beautiful that she was compared with Venus, which is the goddess of beauty and the goddess of love, what every woman would desire or every man would desire to be with. The Psyche couldn't be with any mortal because she was too beautiful. So she was like frightening to be with because she had this. Psyche it becomes the goddess of the mind and the soul, but that's like a part of the mind that resides within your soul. So it's beyond your mind as well. It's not just your reasonable thinking. Psyche is soul, but is another form of between the boundaries of life and death, but with it as well. So Venus sends Psyche to the underworld, wishing she dies. She's done terrible things, so she's not with her son. Let's say that Venus has a strong appetite to be the only one. As the goddess Venus, or her Venusian ways are known to be said as her Venusian ways because she's like top narcissist. It's only about her, what she says, what she wants, and it seems she's not even capable of having a son as Eros herself. Yeah, so it's like she's going to lose him because first of all, he's not her son. It's hard to understand the dynamics. It's never been her possession. So there are drawings of Venus with Eros that have this like love affair in between both of them because they both form archetypes of love from different sides. The Venusian love is the material love known to the Greeks. It is not the immortal love or the beauty of the soul, for that which is transmitted among us. It is the selfish love and the material beauty, that which the average will follow. So when it is, for here, it's very convenient to have a Gnossian because it will attract the average. Yeah, because they cannot conceive that which is immortal. Of course, from the Bible and all our daily prayers from childhood, I'm not an Orthodox of anything, but I'm a Christian. In the old times, they would have burned me, and I would be considered whatever. Is in these times, it's a little more acceptance. There is more healing because Christianity has brought a lot towards humanity. But the more you bring, the more healing you need. At the same time, you need to recover. You need to recover and have that consort with the people, because you brought a lot of goodness already to the world, and you have a connection that is there where nobody has done that. Nobody had the balls to do what the Christians did. Yeah, go there to the jungle and talk to the Native Americans that don't share even any language or education. They could eat you alive, kill you, burn your boats because you're fucking with their woman. I mean, that's what happened in the first trip to the Americas from Columbus. The native got very jealous and they burned the boat because the women were in love with the Spanish men who treated them well. So it's a long story there. All the gods help Psyche. They help her because she is impotent to go through all these journeys. So Pan helps her. Oh, there is a long story in the Apuleius, and it was my first character. And it was very beautiful. Uh, would say that it's not a popular character because who cares about the soul or spirituality or being between worlds? The concept of power of what we need is still from the old times, and now is very pagan, very just material for the average, but that includes also the very rich. All right, I mean, talking from the perspective of an Olympian god, kings and queens and emperors, they're like pagans to Olympian gods. Yeah, also to nymphs of nature, because they are in another continuum of eternity and vibrate through the natures with higher sensibility and perception that might not be of the mind of animals who are starting to learn to create. With that, learning with all the mistakes over and over again, the same mistakes, killing each other, comparing with each other, fighting until death, because the piece of land is more important. To show dominion and conquer the world, and that's how we are going to do it. That, I mean, it's nice to hear, for example, in the Parliament of Ireland, not North Ireland, but of Ireland, how they're speaking what I say. And I'm like, I'm so glad to hear this because these people don't know me, but it's the only place where I heard a man saying that this war is not the way of a democracy. So until the Ukrainians don't know what democracy is, they cannot belong to NATO or European community. Of course, we have Americans, which is a huge problem in the world. As talented they can be, they have become a huge problem as well, because their work is based on stealing my property, intellectual property, with as many people as they can. So if they own Twitter, they have their followers, it seems, or are they bringing a platform? So it's kind of like, it is mine, I do whatever I want, and you are my user. And the ones who have power to hack or use their relations, because that's what it is more important. It's more valuable to have relations of power, to talk bad about others so you are better, to use others so you are the one who supposedly has a higher standard to know what is better, to to keep copying others constantly, even the color of their clothes or hat, because you're taking the energy from others because you have nothing of your own. You never had. There are different forms of relating, and there are different understandings that for other people are impossible. That it's impossible to understand. How could these people relate in such a ways? And how could they still keep this story going? At the same time, they think they're going to do a mediation and they're going to push further. I can have every day a different story as a piece of puzzle. I say, well, but this piece is true, right? And then you bring another piece. Oh, but you said this the other day, and now you're saying this. So, well, but this is a puzzle, right? And then you see online people joking because it's so fun, right? Doesn't matter how many people are dying daily. What matters most is what I tweet. And then I can see myself in CNN all over the news. It's so cute and rich. Yeah. I guess that's more valuable for certain people. I don't know for who. For me, it's like 2 years here and nothing. There is not going to be virtual reality and interaction through multiple characters and verses. But people doing monologues or liner monologues, just the same bullshit that has been happening in these last 2 decades with internet. So don't think I'm inviting you for tea when I talk about cookies and cake. You're not my cup of tea. Yeah, and this is not a picnic. It's going to be very hard. It's very difficult to understand how important it is to talk about cookies, because it pans for the future of virtual reality. And it cannot go with this stupidity because it's not going anywhere anyways. People need their privacy, and there are some laws to target just pedophiles, terrorists, this type of criminals, which is needed with the law of each country and for their own settings that each country has. 'Cause one has to respect other cultures, right? Like some people like to fuck in other people's ass, but they don't like that to be done to them, right? Yeah. They're assholes. Well, they're assholes because they only look for assholes to fuck. They're more important. Yeah, that's how they. And then they just keep the show, right? I saw a comment there after the president talked, and I was thinking, like, yeah, this music, like the anthem of United States of America, looks like the of a circus, and and they march and and uh, and then until this person said it, and I read it, because you see things and then you read it, my god, it's true, because that's the beauty of internet, because you see things but they're just like floating in your mind, and another person says that I'm like, correct, yeah. Another, I just now I read something and I knew it. I thought the husband would be jealous because she was doing more money. That's a reason to kill her. It's a thought. It doesn't mean it's a reality, but it is a thought because she looked more like prestigious, because money gives you more power in a relationship. If you have more power with money, you have more power. It doesn't matter. This is constitute in the hierarchy of relations. Anywhere you go, in families, there will be always a family who has more money. There's no family that has equal amount of numbers in the bank or properties. So this is a hierarchy that we always need to learn, and is shown with Bert Hellinger, creator, German priest of the Catholic Church. I mean, he was a missionary in Africa, and he was seeing this painting in the wall. Uh, I don't want to talk about all of it, but he said, "I have to renounce because I have seen this psychological movement, and I cannot perform this as a priest." And he was already very old. It was not that he left to. He believed in this to do a therapy group, and it had to be through movement and using the consciousness, because he realized when people go to confess, one is prone, of course psychologist has already established this form of belief, and he applied it to his own belief, because it's in the moment of action where we can make that unconscious into consciousness, right? So that's why you have role playing therapy groups, and it's healing, because you are. I'm going to take it from, because this is the word from all the synonymous of healing. You are restoring a movement that it was sickening. You're restoring something that is being wrong, as so many cells are dying and regenerating, and the body is restoring itself with the energy that we charge ourselves with from whatever materials we use, lighter or heavier. So anything that we do for soothing that could seem is like healing is like drugs and automedicating and using alternative chemicals, because we cannot form that naturally. It's because we are sick. So all these people that are taking drugs and they think to be very clever because of these enhancers is because they have been castrated all their life, and they need to adopt these chemicals in their body because they cannot create it with your fucking energy, because you're not aware, and you know who you are. Yeah, you can know a lot of reasonable ways of how to make money, like Venusian Venusian forms of this earth. Yeah, because it's very easy. Yeah, this is this, so let's do this. Yeah, we're talking about this. We're all going to do. Yes, of course, it's what we want to do. But now let's keep passing this, right? Because this is what he's doing. This is a reality. You know how much you like it to feel it. Because yeah, so you keep with that reality. Because that is the lowest in the material world. So you can be talking about cheap. That's what they're called, cheap philosophies. Yeah, cheap philosophy. Yeah, give me more cheap philosophy to soothe myself with, and then take drugs. Keep talking to yourself or tweeting, and the same bullshit is gonna go on. So I mean, you could work less if you make a systematic work around the world. But for that, you have to, if it's a sacrifice to talk about cookies, because you'll never get to eat the cake, you have to talk about cake as well. But it has a reality of its own. But if you're going to put one before the other, of course, it's good to expand and threaten without a cordial agreement and mediation. Say, well, Putin, just get out of this land so we can have peace, abundance in the world, as in Russia, and we will have so many decades. We will cut off with conflicts because Putin is having this problem saying that Russia can take care of itself, doesn't need international relations. It's not going to be convenient because everyone has to be on board. This will never happen until everyone in this only world that we have is on board, because it will be copied, it will be split, and it will be fragmentized as from the times of Babylon. Yeah? For those who want to talk about Babylon, and for those who want to start writing the third part of the Bible with God, that is whatever it is, anywhere. It's funny and beautiful to see these movements. So yeah, I wanted to say thanks to all the Sanitans who died with cancer, doing Tibetan healing in the borders of the Vatican. There were many who died with cancer. They never really got to. Maybe they had sent a letter. Diresh, who was the creator, he learned in the monastery when he was giving himself to death from heroin addiction, as many would do in those times. They would just walk the Tibet to die because they want to continue with the drug, unless a monk would rescue. And he was there 7 years, and he learned Tibetan healing, and he created more from it. I'm talking about people that give themselves to meditation, like my mother, who gave everything away, all her riches, and took us to India. I would never do that because I don't think I would have the balls, or I think my mother had a lot of courage to do that. She said, "You can stay here with Eddie studying in your school, or you can come with me to India." Of course, I wanted to be with my mother, and I didn't like studying in my school. I love going to my school, and I miss my friends terribly. Uh, just wanted to get away from the conflict of studying. In that way. But those were my own personal views, because it was my life or later on, I understood why I wanted to kill myself when I was 13. Nobody knew. I wanted to jump from the 13th floor. So, of the penthouse in Madrid, we had in one view the palace, on the other, and on the other front, the Plaza de España. I was very popular, so I had no reasons to, because nobody loved me. No, my parents loved me. I just, I was studying too much. I was studying too much. I had too much pressure to study because I was dyslexic, so I would forget everything in the exams. And I would study 10 times more than anyone. So it was a conflict. The teachers had a lot of patience with me, but sometimes it was very difficult. The teacher would tell me, "Don't worry, you will understand one day when you grow up." Why? Because they were not allowed to tell me I had dyslexia at that time. Nor my private teachers. I had so much attention and patience. But there was a fight as well with the teachers and a struggle, and they knew I was trying to. And sometimes I would just. So, how can you tell a child that he's wrong? Yeah, just to think that all the kids here now have to study mathematics in college until college in United Kingdom. It's like all the dyslexic people are gonna become artists, not because they want to be artists. I don't want to be an artist. I find artists uh, kind of like selfish, stupid. I find the arts very attractive as a part of life, but not as all my life, just to shine over others. I was kind of like, why not? Can not everyone be a little more creative with their lives? Why does everyone has to look at all these people? Cannot they enjoy their lives? Because I would see some people that would be like, internet is different because you can learn at the same time, but on those time it was just TV, and I was always outdoors, always outdoors, of course, and and studying. I cannot even talk about when I was 20 and 30 because it's all illegal in the ways that people think now. But I was a healer. I could touch. I would do a lot of massage as well because some people have problems with their skin, just as is the longest sexual organ is the skin, and they don't know how to perceive. They've never been touched well, so they cannot touch. I would never talk, but if I didn't want to be touched by a person that has no charisma, because it's not just the skin, it's also through your psyche. If you are being touched or not, some people don't have that quality has been corrupted, has been understanding has been broken. So it needs to reconstruct. And the body itself, the psyche itself, recovers that memory path, which is not necessarily sexual. But I had healed people that had sickness, and I would tell, you have this. You have this. I could read the body. I could read it because I came from that world where you had to study massage 2 years if you wanted to be a therapist. I never wanted to be a therapist because I found other clues where people would never go to therapy. I wonder it. People might study therapy and psychology, but they have no interest in looking within their own darkness. They just want fame, credit, and more points, and making more noise to be more relevant. They don't care doing a peace deal for the sakes of virtual reality, for the sakes of having a better energy around the world. Because we can all live as we used to pray for heaven on earth. But that is the state of the mind, the promised land. You can love each other so much and next day be totally apart. Like that never happened. Because people are not used to be in that state of continuous joy. It seems like suffering is the way. And this is the only problem with our past, not just as Christians, but Muslims worse. Yesterday I went to Hampstead West. Is a nice neighborhood. No, not as nice as Hampstead East, but it is still nice. It's one of the nicest neighborhood. So the man in the library in Kilburn told me, go to this and library. So it's right here, just 7 stops. Because I wanted to get Dante Alighieri again. Just to I don't read it all. I just study it every year. So I got the book because everything has been stolen. So I have to recover a lot of things. And well, I ended up there. And the guy of the library who works there is Muslim, under 30 years old. And he wants to fight me with the Quran. And I was kind of like, because I asked him, why is this Bible here in the library? Why can't I take it home? Because I don't have a Bible in my home. Um, he started to say all these things, right? And I said, well, it's better we don't talk about it because I could kill you right now in the name of God. Because I had the Bible in my hand, right? So he- I, I really meant it. Uh, could have done a polite letter, but I had heard too much. Oh, because you're Christian, what is the reality? I said, yes, well, look, all the Muslims say the same thing, but you're just saying something you learn. Uh, something that you learn. Because we believe in facts, in reality. And all this is the same thing also that this guy was telling to Jordan Peterson, this other Muslim. And I said, look, it's like a poetry, yes, part of being creative and expressing. No, but it literally that is not true. I said, well, the your God, Allah, is a lie because you've never seen it. And I left because anyway, also the library was full with Muslims too. It was empty, so it just had 3 Muslims, right? So you would say it was full of Muslims, and they were ladies, yeah, because the child were in the school and they were studying. So that was nice. You know, there was time. What are they going to study? They're going to study Muslim shit in our Christian continent. Yeah, and to be excluded within our culture, bringing their shit. It's good. The ladies are very nice. They don't, but they are the ones who give birth to these children. To not say to these problems. Yeah, walking problems here. It's very hard to understand each other. Just and I was really like, this is why I don't like to get out of my house, because you always have to forgive yourself for being alive out here, and just I mean, because I'm an old body, I could just tell him what I really think about him. But if we were in the old times, I would have just taken my sword and chopped his head and feel better for the rest of the day. But in Spain, we had a lot of. In Spain, we had a lot of. In Spain, we had because he's right there next to us. I remember the girl and Eddie said they were the first family immigrating. They were starting to be the first families from Morocco or this immigrate. And Eddie said, who was a business partner of my mother. They were friends, best friends always until today. He said, poor people, because they're coming here, and the Spanish are so evolved. They are all good people, and they don't have models. They don't know how to coordinate in the ways in which we had evolved. So it's going to be conflicted because they are going to keep allowing this immigration. But on those times were few. It's just, but now it's everywhere. And it's very hurting because it's like, yeah, because I'm being nice to you. Like, I'm not coming here to talk bad about your God because I have more knowledge to fuck you up with my brain if I want to, with your stupid God. I could just insult him on and on with everything he is, his culture, and why he's talking like that. Which is because I'm with my ego trying to be nicer and giving my other cheek so they will learn someday and say, look, you're never going to change. I'm never going to change. So let's leave it like that. Before, people used to kill each other because of a political and cultural. Yeah. So, but nowadays people don't do it. And he was like, but I was all the time trying to leave the conversation. And I was asking him again, could you just please get me the book? Because this is the first time I'm here. Otherwise, I would just get it myself. And it will continue. The person will continue because he has a job, and it was in his power to give me the book whenever he wanted. It was in a good neighborhood with good people, and they're gonna bring more and more and more and more Muslims to make parts of our continent uglier and uglier and uglier. And I have thought, like, how could it be a bridge in between? Yeah, because what is going to be the next generation? Of course, this guy was not born here, but he was prepotent enough. He was raised here. You could tell by. But they feel isolated in with their own culture in our world. So when I am in their world, I'm open, I'm respectful, and everything flows. I'm not gonna go there to bring contradictions or judge. I just find it so ridiculous. But I'm coming out of my neighborhood with which is full of Muslim and rubbish and all the front of the houses are disgusting, including mine. They steal it, they break it, it's on and on. They're not just Muslim, but just immigrants. The Brazilians would steal it, and the Muslims would destroy it. They have destroyed my. I mean, I have. This is what I have to live with. Now it doesn't matter what class you are. If you had education, you cannot protect yourself, and you have all these influences from the Americans destroying your country, your social status, and everything. Then you have to say, yeah, yeah, yeah. I will give my power to you, so you're greater. Yeah, I bow to you. Yeah, right. Yeah, use my energy to do this war with millions of people. Yeah, yeah. That's what they think that one is gonna do. Because one is here. Like if that is gratifying in a healing form. Because I think for the world. I cannot betray myself. I cannot think for one without the other. So it is always a conversation within a dyslexic mind is mine, which is from birth being thought to fail for the world. You cannot obligate people to think in one way or dress in one way, but at least to be a little bit respectful. Come here to trash, talk bad. Politicians don't care about recycling. You talk about people who spend a lot of publicity there saying they care about the planet, and when you ask for recycling help with McDonald's, they don't give a shit. All they talk is about their narcissism online. And you're there like, oh my god, maybe my work could bring joy to the world, but I don't give a fuck. Which is use you as if you are the clown of the court. And there you go. Your values become trash once again. Why? Because they're using every juice to squeeze you. Be great. There's the irony of, yeah, I care for you. Because it looks better than what it really is. Because they have to transform all that to look. It would be contagious if it's real, of course. But they are dealing with other realities. In reality, this is what's shown, but the reality is this every day, every day, every day, every day, just to have views and likes. And probably many people are going to click on other things in the future. They're not going to be interested in that because they're going to be flowing on other dimensions. Maybe for 15 minutes or and say, oh my god, how disgusting. They used to be like that before. That's what they used to do. Of course, we all have beautiful elements within our soul and body and unlimited mind. We all have a sense of universal love. And some have more nostalgia because they left that freedom sometime in order to conquer other parts of the self. But they know it still exists out there. They just want to use it on their behalf, but not because they love particularly anyone. They love the feeling of being loved because of themselves, but they don't love anyone but themselves. They like more powerful connection, the love itself. But it's within the understandings of what is what. It doesn't mean that it is that. Because everything could work simultaneously within a frequency of true love that is real. And I'm not talking here about one person that is better than another, or because this person makes you feel more special. I'm talking about certain rules for all the worlds, and to start doing things that are transformative. When I put my hand in a sickness that I can detect, is because some people might say, "Oh, it's too negative. That person is too negative." No, no. The thing is that you don't want to look of that. Yeah. So by the moment that you are looking at the darkness and sickness, you have to be very dark to kill darkness. So you are the heaviest shit of all to transmute that, because that is what a killer can transform. It's not that he's a healer, but it has the potential to transform. Once a person have killed, it can undo that. But you can kill cancer, you can kill, instead of being afraid and ignore and gaslight, yeah, to promote more sickness in this world, yeah, and have this world more divided, to have this world with less flow. Why do you need the cookies from people's information to control what? Technocratic said, for universal benefit. And everyone has their own talent, of course, and their power. You can be against that. I have promised myself to not talk more about politics on this year, 2023. So, and disconnect, I would have to do it slowly, surely. I have already disconnect everything from Meghan and Harry. Whatever the king wants to do on the kingdom, I am fine with it. It's just trying to move back towards my form of healing, because this is a word for the weak, but this is what I using in healing, and this recovering yourself from being alive another day, just to be alive, and all that is through meditation. Like if I'm not meditating, one day it happens naturally. But if I'm not aware of all the sounds, of all the conscious form and crystallize, how can I convert something I do not have in my hands as a reality? So what is victorious for you right now, because you are in multiple realities, but they don't know a fuck. They can travel around the world and meet many people and shake hands, and they can believe the same cheap philosophies and get to say, "Oh yeah, the distillation, yeah, no, yes, but no, because then South America, if you support Venezuela, then South America will be against us. So we have to repress this. Who cares if Europe doesn't have gas or petrol?" This is like, Europe has to really work for themselves to get these energy resources, because if they relate with the United, because they don't care about all the immigration that is coming thanks to these wars, where they should be in their countries doing their own things. God knows better. God knows better. This is not like a final judgment as to say we should have never colonized any country, because they should be living in the jungle. We don't have to hear anything about black people or if they are woman or fat or skinny. It's just, enjoy your life, be with your artists in your material world, and that's it. We won't have these problems that now we're facing. We will have our little internet just for us. Yeah, just enjoy life. Nobody will have to know about our life because we'll just share it with ourselves, right? So there wouldn't be that envy, murderous envy. And who wants to cry anyway if you're really happy? Like, Alexander the Great orgies, he was at least handsome. But what are you promoting? You are not even beautiful to think about something that is transcending. Like, what is more transcending than sex? It's like, what are you selling here? Is what, like, people are looking at the computer and the phone, and they go back to their reality. I don't know what they say that Alexander the Great was gay. He was bisexual. Sexually, were like more men because women can be very boring. There's something with women that needs to be pushed away and be given space because there is something missing. Uh, of man with woman is so bad. Uh, I'm not saying to me. I am one of the lucky. So eventually, maybe I will end up with many men around me or with none. It doesn't matter really. But I'm good enough with my creation, that's for sure. It's like, because there are problems that don't have solutions. Men are just, they will never give up. So it's the way. Today I was just thinking how we're going to talk here about, in plural, about humanity's healing. Because this is why women had not become taller, because they've been always pressed down. It's been a survival mode to having to hang on to certain laws, so somebody can take care of the children and give birth to them and have more people working for you, because at the end that's what they are doing. They are your employees there, so you can have more or one after the other. Yeah, it's like, now it's just, yeah, baby, I'm gonna marry you. So, but then you just can divorce. Yeah, they give you great sex because they want to marry you, take you to the moon, and next day or in 3 months or 3 years, they will just go after another one. They know that very well, but they don't have the capability of transcending. They do not have that other solution. It has nothing to do with being loyal all your life with a woman. It's a self mechanism. I should I should bring better words to so it clicks. Why are you so afraid of people and so distant? It's not about the woman you have next to you, because you're a walking problem, pretending to have all the answers. And the world thinks it's true. That's a funny thing. So you keep doing your shit, but at least clean your ass by yourself, alright? Because nobody's gonna clean your ass. Only your suckers can clean your ass. That's what you want. You want an empire of insults to conquer Mars? And go there. with your group of prostitutes and incels, because that's the match. And even if it's an intellectual woman, it will end up prostituting herself because there is a disconnect. There's a great disconnect. Just for creation and charging this energy, and oh yeah, this is new. Great. This, this one is new. Oh, I'm so excited. This one, huh? Now this one, yeah. And now this one. Yoo-hoo! I mean, we have to experience everything as experimentalists. And even if you're a theorist, you have to know with the period of going through the elemental sources. But at the end, you will have to make your choices that are going to define you. So you're gonna keep doing the same problem again and again, to make money in the same way again and again, to have your viewers the same way again. You can always do that, but now you're being put to do something new that is out of your own. Now you're not the problem, but you're being given a problem that you all share together. So no, because I don't want to be dependent, because that's how them people are. Well, maybe you are like that as well. You're also manipulative. You, in the sense of obligating others to do something you don't want, because of course you're managing with people that know very well what they do. So that's the nature of what's gonna happen in the next years, and it's going. Many tech companies are gonna fall down and never be remembered. Ones they had, the other they didn't have, because they had no foundation. They just had this generation, and this generation is in Pampers. This is the first generation of internet. They've been it's normalized to steal and take people's information and to relate in certain ways. But there is a matter in the heart that moves. You know it's gonna work, because you know from another organism of your own intelligence, there is an intelligence from the heart that knows, because you know it, because it just pulsates from the center of all your material orbits, that you are burning with it and for it. And you've been burning all your life for it as well. You're just now to be starting to become more and more aware of it, of how beautiful it is to be loved, to become together, and to understand that all these prayers had actually a meaning beyond yourself. You could never put this world together to help this world for what it needs in a map that is rounded, the globe, this planet Earth, if you don't put the principal heads. So this is going to push towards outer space, and you don't need to write science fictions as if I did, because everybody wants to write science fiction far away. All the role players, oh, I don't want to be in this generation, so boring. La 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 la. But I said, come on, let's write. I created many forms of writing. Right now, I'm not going to talk about it, but the brain is not used to operate in different ways of writing. I'm gonna talk about it because I have so much to give, but still, it's gonna be like, okay, let's log here again. I'm just on standby doing nothing. Invested myself for 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 my loads of role play into virtual reality, and there is that was given was stolen as a test. So I'm not going to lie. Why should I lie? What I'm saying is in private. I am talking openly while I'm being hacked because I want to. Of course, I want to. I want to see it work. As long as it's a sign, okay, we're going to mediate for these next 20 years until Russia has paid back and invested on this. But you cannot see the part of the story. But you have to know that you want to go here and you don't know how. But you sign for it. I don't think this should become another country. Really. A little principate. A principate, like, that's it. Game over. Make new laws. There's so much creativity to bring so many mediations, creativity, things that have never happened before. Why do you have to be doing the same bullshit? That's still because there's a time where everyone is gonna have to move through this movement in the world, want it or not. So, well, this problem still solving at least is when it's moving. There is no need to go through. There's no need to burn all these trees in British Columbia to have gas in United Kingdom. Why are they doing this? Because they don't want to bring the petrol from Venezuela. Why? Because Biden has said, no, cannot do business with a country that doesn't have democracy. What kind of democracy you have? Just because you're running a circus online, you think you have democracy? We'll see if you take the guns out. But that will have to be before you end your presidency. That has started to move in the Congress, in the Supreme Court. Because they are politician dreams. The usual politician promises. The more delusional, the better. The beautiful thing about Biden, I wish to be with my mother to talk about Biden because it's her age. And I love to embrace my mother all the time. Unfortunately, my sister has taken over my mother and her money. Even if she has a few left coins, she still wants to take over that. And also hers, mine as well. I mean, this world has so many narcissists, they're one after the other. So, and I love them both. It's part of my genetical relationship, and I'm an observer, is to say I become as them as well in my greatest characters. I take the piece out of them and enjoy them on first person in character. So how could not much I love them because I grew up with them, right? And not only that, I multiply that by hundreds or more, 100 million, because they are, and you have to understand they are natures that might look narcissist, but they are other forms of nature. But in their own nature, they're not narcissists. It's part of their nature. And it's in their constitution to do as such. Like certain characters, they might look fictional, but they are characters of nature. And you might say, oh, but this character is narcissist. No, but this character doesn't belong to your realm. For you, it's narcissist. This is a character that owns a nature. So you had a catastrophic nature, but it was in its own divine and natural order to do this. Because it's yeah? Uh, for you, it's a catastrophe and it's selfish, but not for the nature of this character, that it doesn't belong to you, of your dominion, of your domain. There's so much to give here, but well, for more information, you can always send me an email or a text. And I don't role play with my real life, and I don't flirt. I can be your friend for many years, and maybe you think that I'm gonna fuck you one day, and I would never fuck you. So don't mix things, because that is irrelevant. To fuck or not to fuck, that's not the meaning of life, and that is contagious. When one is creating together, you will want to fuck everyone because you're creating. Yeah, so there is an attraction and a rejection, but there is happening for, so you have to, at a certain point, to stop comparing, because you want to love the other one as well. So you have to, because you love this other person because is attractive to you, for its position, for its power, for its the way that it's genius, how it's handling the audacity to put this crazy person or laugh about this, and or the way he's emanating its voice, and you love this man, and this other man loves you as well, because you have, and it's nothing gay, but there is a lot of, there's nothing to compare. Comparisons will break through. That's what is called energetical thinking. Shalom. You could be sleeping next to the priest with your soul, with your psyche, in your imagination. It doesn't mean you're fucking him. There is only love in the room, and you can feel he's in his room, and you're in your room, in your imagination. Or the priest of the Orthodox Church in Russia as well. And share the same thought of frequency. What are we doing in here? Yeah, because I am with you. I am with you, and I share your spiritual path in your land, for your Russia, and the other one too, because there is a communion among us. So that is love. It doesn't mean that we're having sex with each other, but it's beyond sex. Is could be with sex. It could be without sex. Call it tantra. Call it divine path. Call it however you want in your own language and religion or form of belief. All right, call it if you want, but don't never call it a perversion, because you will send yourself to auto-flagellation for something that is simply loving another. And it could be abstract. It could be physical. You could feel your arse that is charged. You could feel your heart that is pulling. You could, but never compare yourself with others or with your fucking wife. I don't care if you're stuck. It's not my problem. I mean, if I get stuck, I get stuck like a dog after sex. I don't understand these things, right? I don't understand why you have to talk about problems with a person that you live with. You shouldn't. already know. What is the need to argue and talk too much to understand what? I don't understand these things. So it's a form of joy, a conversation, yes. But uh, that never worked in my family. My family, it didn't matter who was right or not. My father was the man everyone listened, and he had the last word, whatever he was right or not. And you knew very well he was wrong, but that had established. And she would be the queen when she was talking with her friends. And she would admire him, and he had the voice. He was the man of the house. But of course, my mother wouldn't look a stupid woman, and that was beautiful in that order. So there's no need to compare when you're out of your house, of your realm. Never compare. If you do more meditation and you're aware of being an observer and allowing other people's love, because mostly comes from a person who has done hardcore meditation and is on this earth beyond the needs that you have, beyond the needs of this world at the same time, but is on this earth as well. Because you're too attached. Your ego is too attached. Your beliefs are too attached. Everything you have done and composes you, you're so attached to it. You can only talk about that. That's the only thing you can talk about. That's the only thing you can do. And it doesn't, the more you have, the more boring could be and annoying. Because then it's like this form of creation could never exist for those who have the power to do so and the initiative to grant that step. So you are all standing around it, but you're just observing at the same time. You don't have to give too many steps. Just to be present to it is good enough. Sometimes not moving could be more movement than doing all this war and movement. Waste of material life, a waste of material, and that is called power. It should never be that the military in every country has so much power, because it can be so destructive. The more power they have generated, so I'm not naive to say that the world is going to be in their heart and they're going to share and all this, because I actually want everyone to die online with their characters and receive them to the underworld. So maybe I'm more of a sadist or narcissist or psychopath, probably more psychopath. I mean, could be say, yeah, I could do the narcissist thing. Yeah, I could do this. I mean, every psychiatric character trait that I have ever studied have become with my characters. So don't take me too seriously to ever think that you could categorize me, because I will fool you once again. You are still on the era. This is like the babies who put everything in their mouth. That's what you are to me. I am just present and compel myself to say certain things. I can feel them in that moment, but it doesn't mean that it is. In that moment, it is, but that's not it. Like, I'm just observing, waiting for this to form and take stage, the grand stage that is proceeding. each one in their own little space of free control, because it feels safety. It feels safety to be in your own. And one day you can be together and laugh about it. Keep it. But then is your real true love, because you have worked for it. You have met face to face. You have handled it in the material context to say is your property. There's no need to debate or those stupid things if you're on that level of consciousness and love and understanding. No matter how much mathematics, coding, science, forms of dancing, moving, sexual positions, foods you have tried, people you have tried, how much money you have exchanged, in how many ways, and all these things you have done in this world or could ever get to know on half. It's just for this. So prolonging and postponing because you're doing what's been correct through history. And this is vertiente, because vertiente has no translation in English. It has a scientific translation, a mathematical translation. Vertiente is like an affluent of a river, but that is coming down. It descends, a vertiente. Yeah. It always comes down because of the law of gravity, but it parts from it. So the currency is sometimes stronger than the other because you are in this angle of flowing towards that side, which has been already been flowing by that vertiente, but that currency. So if you're a creator, or you're aware, you will always do what is better. Not just for now, but for a longer term. And you wouldn't want your children to do the stupidities of what your grandparents had to go through. And some of us, their parents. So each generation is different. It's each way of trusting is very different. So healing is understanding. That understanding can be simultaneous, but within the mind is not really entering into the gravity of this earth. Because you just want your property, your organization, or you want to have the bigger part of the cake. So as it is with the tech giants, because they already dominate this, the government doesn't know about technology, even if they work for the government. And the government will never give the priorities that it needs. That not even the CIA are bringing these answers, because they're after following anyone, their boss. And they are also listening to other, yeah, because they need to sustain their position of power. That is always the main center of attraction. So it's been. I have not been online after Biden said that he will work for to stop guns. How will it affect for Americans? They know. They know. So that's also a big step for every citizen of America. I guess many feel really cool having their guns, but once it's by law, and there's no say. All right, whatever you say or in the internet, it's not going to change because you cannot allow children to. How can you let children rule in your house? You have parents, you have government. Yeah, they know what's better. Yeah, you can think whatever you want, and this is good, right? This is better, right? Of course, Biden is going to make propaganda about the United States of America being the leaders of the world. He's never going to say that Europe has not used guns for centuries. Yeah? People are more educated in Europe than what they call freedom in America. That's not freedom. That is just a runaway from all their traumas, pursuing more traumas and creating more sickness. Now with transgenderisms, they call freedom that, right? You have more freedom to rape, I guess, and make other people believe what? For what? Because the majority of people are not gay. So how could you win votes with that? Just by that, you can lose everything you ever dream of in your discourse. Because the more dreamy, the less real. So selling, but at the same time, you're investing all this propaganda into war. So where is all this gun? Yeah. So it is good. You've been the first. You have more cooperation now. The Democrats are pushing an agenda that is more, I would say, I don't think people that work in politics are. I think people that work in politics are very thirsty for power, but they have not a very good education. Like the general people that they want to have power, safety to a certain degree, but they don't. They don't have a heart because they have to constantly lie to maintain their position. And that's the way it should be. Yeah, of course. I am a top liar. I joke about it in my work. I said, no, no. I am just really nice because we have to be nice. Otherwise, things wouldn't work, right? I mean, I would be fired right now. And people could not believe what I'm telling them because I'm being so nice. They've been working with me for many years. And they know I don't have any evil for them to destroy them, but they would hate me because they want to be right. They will only obey because the superior orders tell them that, for example, you shouldn't do this, but not because I say so, right? Why? Because they want to be the boss. They want to be right. I'm tired of pretending to be stupid because it's this self of protecting myself, pretending to be stupid. Women had to create a higher sense of intuition in order to protect themselves. And they had to be nicer than men or anything on this earth in order to protect themselves. Doesn't mean the women are stupid. Uh, Women have to transform the aggression of men. The women have this power that can transform all the rubbish and to transform it into good energy, right? So uh, at the same time, I've heard from therapists, and I have international therapists, and I have fought them. At the end, I let them have the word because they have to be the leaders of the group, and my mother brings them to make money. So it's my interest that all the people trust him and follows him. I say the that is disgusting. I said, why would I want to, that is disgusting. I would just go with all my body, like, yeah. Cannot they just transmute their own bullshit? Because, like, I say you're an asshole, I'm not gonna clean your ass. Is another way of saying, like, it's just do your meditation, do your sports, don't take it on. I'm not here to transform your 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 walking problem, so you feel good, because is a manipulation. Many women don't notice that. That's why many men get with me. I say, well, I don't know, but I don't know how to say this, but men go crazy with me because they really go to the limit, trying to control me. And I said, but what is it that you want to control? Because there's nothing to control. And then women go there cleaning the house, pretending to be better, or they go do other things because they're being manipulated with these dark forces to prove they're better. So they work for them. Is a dark agreement. But if they're aware, why would you do that? Just have fun with life, right? It's like, yeah, I'm writing here. I'm here. Excuse me. Like, I am now in this. I'm in this story right now, and like, it's like I could be fucking 20 people. What problem are you bringing me? Hello? Yes? For what? Because if you at least have a mind that could have a climax intellectual debate, great, I'm going to listen to you. But you don't even know how to have that. So, but this is a relationship that is normal. It's another form of relating, another organism, another a pathology. But is it really bringing life to its uppermost? What I'm gonna have to tell to my children? No, my girl. I have nothing for you because look, I had to lie to myself and allow this to continue and allow other people to carry with the same story, or make my work happen with the work of others. And for that, you've been standby because women like me, we have to go very far to get a hooker, or two or three, four. That's not support, right? Yeah. Being precise in this present. So that you can enter through the present by defining the present with the highest pixeling sound as it is, unless you are bringing a noise to it or too much psychedelics, illusion. Of course, we need to convince people, but are you talking with children really? Because you really believe in projecting and manifesting? Go, go and crash against the wall. Go, because this is not the generation of gaslighting. You're gonna have to prove by stopping yourself right now. I'm telling your little Monica Lewinsky that she's not the first lady of USA and that he's never gonna get any jets or tanks because they're doing a peace deal. And we are learning from democracy. We have a democracy, we're still learning from it, which should never happen because people who, like you, should never be a president in first place. All right? And people like me should never be talking like it should be with my children and role playing without hackers, just gardening, making love, eating well, having my senses to enjoy food. That is life. I didn't study script writing for this. I studied script writing not because I wanted to do movies. I knew very well I didn't want to do movies. I wanted to do something that is to enhance people's real life. I didn't know how, but I knew there is one step higher so people can make a movie out of their life without having to watch other ones. Like, for example, Fake the Cake, which is disgusting bones walking with makeup and some dresses, a ghost there. William, everybody must be looking at him. Is he as stupid as Harry? Because he must be as stupid as Harry. Yeah? Murray with the middle class that now is among the top with the Getty as well. Wow. You know? Kate too. A Middleton there. All you have to do is pretty in this life, girls. Get skinny and be as stupid as you can and shut the fuck up. Be an actor. Be as a model, skeleton. Not too much meat to hold on with. Something you can push over and say you understand it. Yeah. Those are the forces that rule this world. In their own little world, they do. How many magazines are there printed with all this bullshit? Like, really? I want to stay with my family and enjoy the existence of my mother until she dies. I want to enjoy and give her every bit of happiness she has given me. I want to know that my work is being reciprocal and it has come to its fulfillment. My daughter, my big first daughter, texts me. It's all about love, love, and I'm saying like, yeah. If I have to tell her, going on, but who cares? This is not about knowing what's going on or who I am. That's is not the main theme. It's the beautiful 5-year agenda from Honobishi. So they also have red leather case or white in marfil. Bill Gates said that one should have a 5-year agenda. So I have for this year to pray. But that is a work that I've been doing. And the only thing I have to do is to pray. To pray with all the emotions, with all the colors, with any fiber there is, with the same sunshine every day. To be thankful and pray. Artists are always finding a reason to interpret the historical happenings of this era, but they are still there in another realm, which is not as responsible as the one of the government. It does not belong to intellectuals or technocratics, because they're just after money and machines, technical, mechanical movements that can produce more money. So the more they produce, the more they need to enjoy. So they're not really thinking for the wall, they just thinking in commerce. They are in the marketplace. Yeah. So they can say they care about this, but they don't really care about it. They're just using that best for more. That's all they do. How can they get to invest for more? And I was born out of one, my mother. So, and I appreciate that, but I'm not. I can say, yeah, it's the best art is business, right? Because I'm talking to this, but I'm trying to embrace something that has much more to do, because the eighth art with internet, in virtual reality and in real life, has more that I'm never gonna tell you until you agree and sign it up for me. So, well, I sat in the library yesterday and I just wrote this part from the Bible. That is a book I avoid because it looks so dramatic. Sometimes I'm like, God, this is like, could stay in the past. But this should this frequency should never happen again, because you're really like this is like this should have never happened again. Really, like you are it's like, if I have to dissect the all the Bible and say, I would just say 80% is schizophrenic. 80% from the time of Babylon, from the time of the Genesis, from the time of walking out of paradise. Just drama, drama. So there is gonna come a day where you're gonna enjoy your drama so much that violence, which is what is the worst drama of all, the abyss, the void, everything is gonna become so beautiful. You're just gonna bask in all the visual, the visual effects, the sound effects, with all at the same time, and invigorate yourself with the flow of what you've been doing. But I have a lot of people waiting for me until you move in reality. Yeah? Being behind the screen, doing all this again and again. You're in control, you know what you're doing, but it's not. So, well, it's from the book of Job, chapter 8, 35. Then will I speak and not fear him? But it is not so with me. It's really cool. I mean, of course, I find the Bible utterly boring. Is to say, I could be role playing right now, and in this part of the Bible, I'm not the best person to talk about the Bible. That's why I listen to the priest and the bishop, because they are professionals with it, and they go through 360 degrees multiplied with 360. At the beginning of the book of Job, it says, the first paragraph, there was a man in a land of us, but it's us, whose name was Job. And that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. In chapter 3, 24, for my sight come before I eat, and my roaring are poured out like the waters. It's magical because I've been studying like for a few weeks, trying to find translation for the word vertiente. It is pouring out these waters, this roaring. So when I read the Bible, I cannot read the whole story because it's really like, oh my God, isn't it enough with my life? What I have to do? I have to read full chapters. I just go and jump, and I find this, and I puzzle out the story in my own way because I'm not gonna read the full chapter. Hello. Because some sentences just go jump and they just go like, and then I just go jump again to another chapter and another. Because it's so hungry. Bless those who are so hungry because they use it beyond the desire to eat and drink. This other one is saying, like, what? He was explaining, like, why this one has so much wisdom? Something like that, no? What is light given to a man whose way is heat? That was Job 4, chapter 3 and 23rd. Like, but it's not talking really about because what we think is going to give us, yeah? You think this drug is going to give us, this person is going to give us, this candle is going to give you this light. Sometimes you have to find a formula of your own, or you have to find meaning to love, or you have to find an answer to save the world, or you have to find a person who invented rechargeable energy, and the other one have find it this lithium energy from the battery that could be recharged again, and maybe in this other way, and the other one and this. So everyone is been finding from others and passing this light, but at the same time, in this so many ways of passing this light, the sun keeps burning. It keeps burning from the system of all these planets that already has. Sometimes I talk about things by myself because I imagine, but it's not that I have studied inside. Of course, I study science, but I mean, it's not easy carrying the encyclopedia of science. But you cannot never study as a professional in that field because science has a lot of obsessive studying into the one science and that specific. What is the science that can cover them all? Is called planet Earth. Because this is our orbit. This is our orbit right now. We're stationed in this planet. But at least the time you walk off this planet, If you go to a spaceship in your station, space station, you can look at it and say, I did good. I came from you and I did good to you. I know that what is going left is not going to auto destroy with wars, because neglecting to just gain your own profit for your own solution, it is a selfish and is a crazy genius could do to create robots for sex when this earth maybe needs a chip to know if a child is being raped or violently abused. They didn't accept my formula, that other with nanotechnology sensors, because it can detect with the pulse. It can be monitored. A child. How can you trust your child to strangers, teachers? You have to trust. You cannot be with your child every time. How do you know? Yeah, I've been very lucky, but I cannot talk of people I have grown with and I have seen. But I even had to teach children and teenagers because their parents were not mature enough. So everyone could think in that way, that is going to do this mediation, at least for a moment. That will I speak and not fear him, but if it is not with me, even having so much money and power, but at least you know that your clients are going to come with you. For example, because you roll with everyone has an iPhone and they love your computers, and people like their privacies to be respected. So they will just sacrifice Google away. So their children say don't use Facebook or Instagram. Anyways, your freedom matters more. Only certain things can be targeted in order to protect humanity, because sickness can be contagious and be passed through generations because of lack of parenting, lack of authority. And authority has nothing to do with being famous, having likes and views, or being pretty. I could have all this as a wall, you're all assholes. And maybe Bill Gates has been a greater asshole to me. And maybe he's old and ugly. He's been ugly all his life. But I like him more. Because he's been doing something that none of you have done. Maybe you have more likes. Maybe people like you more because you're more handsome. You look like a prince, and you just to think that you are with doing this. You're doing it for your own benefit because you presume to be loved so much as the only one, or that you are healing me, like you're right. Do you know with how many people I have been day, year by year, in groups, in masses, face to face? And not only in real life, but on internet, I have made global movements. Not trolling, never, l- with the need to lie. Yeah? Because if you don't know what Tantra is, that is your problem. If you think it's just triangulating with sperm, what do you know? How dare you? Don't even mention it. Makes you look as an idiot. So at least don't talk about things you don't know. Yeah? Because you think the average doesn't know, so you will look cool, right? But everyone is doing this just because their viewers matter more, to have fun with the internet and have more likes and maybe even get to own your platform one day. You're right. So of course you can be with someone that looks sexually very appealing physically or that is younger. Well, oh, maybe this one is 10 years younger. Oh, this one won't bring me problems. I mean, you could do anything to attract people physically. I have done that. I have dressed very well and with all these sophisticated tools of weapons of sexual weapons of attraction. But still, whatever it is, it's so easy. So the you really have to think that at least that no one is perfect. If you're a greater asshole, perhaps you have greater mistakes. If you are a genius, you have a greater possibility of having craziness as well. So you have to have laws to stop genius from committing madness because everyone applauds these geniuses, but at the same time, they will go into a nuclear war. Einstein, yeah, Einstein could do all these compendiums, so this is not used for your bomb with the scientists. But did he go to regulate it with laws of government? Because only that the people can act with these laws, unless those in top of power don't give a shit and keep just scratching their ass, because that's all they think about. Their asshole, the other asshole projecting with their asshole. They cannot clean their shit. They're not aware of shit. They bring them shit and then just give more shit. There was a cool story about just passing the shit on because that was what internet is all about. I could see it already with I made a character for that, inspired by the movie and the book Perfume that I have with the creator of Torture Machine, Smith the Cheated. So it was called Smith the Cheated because you have to continue passing the shit. The thing is that, I mean, it's a fun story, but it's just um, it's another story in another in another verse. Is a character that works for kings and emperors, and I used to joke and I say, yeah, this was the first characters who the first social workers who were for sculpturing society with machines that would be specific to regulate a society, and not all societies are the same, or not all societies have the same problems, so they would need a different torture machine depending to the technical problem that this society would have, right? So it's a very funny character, but it will totally create that machine that is a torture machine, of course, but it has a different mechanism of torture because it will do exactly the opposite of what you're doing, not just as an individual or system of belief, but as a sickness to your society. Of course, this is a character that is, let's say, in the Middle Ages, and of course very Christian, religious, and of course very miserable, top miserable. 'Cause if you have joy, you would never do this. So it was a satire. This character is a joke out of all these people who work in politics, social workers. I mean, the queen is a social worker, the king is a social worker, priests are social workers. It's not just the person that works in your council. Because you need everyone to believe in you, that you have the power to adjust, you have the power to make the best for your people. Yeah, that's why you take their taxes from them, right? And that's why they honor you to do so. But this character had a different connotation towards the misery, with playing with people that are not, they are, I would say the average role player that I have met is middle low class. I have, because people who have money wouldn't be role playing. They're using their money in role playing their own realities, with fantasies, with clothes, going to the gym, getting more business, having this more money to work more for their education of the children, this and then to maintain their husband, and yeah. Uh, s- so they don't have time to just dive into studying anything and having fun with your own movie is there, right? It's like they already have to work with these things, which are for me, I guess I do it, but I don't really think about it. I do think about it, and I maybe think it in other ways, not that as they do. Uh, for what it works, how are you going to, as a role player, think, I need this character to make this story roll. I have this problem in this story, right? That's what a role player, a master role player does. A master role player is someone who has played a lot of characters and plays them all with a lot of joy. Gets really into character, forgetting all the characters, all the stories, and it's just that character, and having a lot of fun there. And you could never tell this character is this person because it's doing it so well. It gets away from its own ego. It has different way of writing. It has different other sounds for this character. Has find other movement. Has find other forms of representing this character. That's a real master role player you got there, not the one that is all. Yeah, because it has already all these groups rolling, and it doesn't even need to be taking care of these groups as long as it goes there, pays a visit, and yeah, yeah, yeah. So they maintain their groups because you don't want to be maintaining your groups after so many years. So there's a lot. I'm just telling from the, so you just scratch the superficial. 'Cause you don't belong to it. You could talk about it, but you don't have any clue. You're not an actor. You're the scriptwriter, the director. You have to do your own casting to pick the character. You have to conclude with your own moments of vision and silence. You need this character to make the story roll. And this character cannot do this. Which character are you going to send so this character can get it? Because not all the characters match. You don't have to study science and chemistry, physics to understand that. Yeah? As tedious as the knowing it could be, to ever think that this place happened like that, not just for self marketing. Yes, let's send this actor so that he's gonna make this sell. Because no one is capable of doing a peace deal. Even those who have the power to talk to the masses for a peace deal are shitting on United Nations when they're the only ones talking about peace. And who's gonna cost now? Just look at it. You can shit all over it. Yeah, you have more power to sink it in. What are you thinking? Because it doesn't mean you're you're an enemy because you talk about peace. You're not saying you're on the side of Russia. And it angers me because that's what people want. They just want just to tweet, just talk to talk, just talk for talks. Yeah. Show him what is to have tea in the castle, the palace. Who's the king? What is tea all about? Well, who's gonna talk about peace, right? It's not convenient, is it? When everyone is applauding of how strong you are together. How exquisite. Let's get more delirious. Let's watch all these people die. Let's say what she says. Let's say what he says. You're a hero. My God. That's how you teach democracy? Conversations can be healing. That's why some people do therapy groups or tarot. Tarot. I've done tarot reading, but I said I'm not gonna read you the future, right? When we finish this session, you're gonna forget everything. And they believe in you. They think you have supernatural powers. And you joke about it. And then you say, because I'm not gonna talk about the future. That's why you're not gonna forget. You're not gonna remember anything. Because I'm never gonna talk about the future, so there's nothing to remember. But you're right now you're going, I'm just deprogramming the person because they always want to know about the future. Yeah. And if possible, to manipulate the future, to know in advance. And nobody comes to tarot for spiritual growth. For this is what most of the international therapists and the best therapists my mother would bring. She had beautiful taste for therapists. Me and my daughter wish to see the path again, and I hope with my mother as well. We can go to Taiwan to visit the path. I was just laughing with so much joy with my daughter. And I was telling her, yeah, it doesn't matter because we don't need to know what they mean in Chinese or Taiwanese. I don't know. As long as we are there, because the girlfriend is doing the therapy groups. But they would say, and he would say, people don't come to know about death. People don't come to know about transformation. Most of the therapists who followed Osho gave the work of Osho away and they abandoned meditation. When meditation is the key, they will mention things because there's been a lot misunderstood from the world of Osho among the very sannyasis. And You can grasp it by times, have a glimpse of it. And that is something that cannot be given for any price or for free. So you can sell a product, but at the same time, you have to go with all yourself to it. There's not a piece being left behind or in front to go later. So, uh, Osho would say, if you can dance death, you can transform anything. You look at the material world with other eyes. You can celebrate the material world. I can dress here in 1,000,000,000 ways. So you judge me. I can represent 1,000,000,000 emotions. So I will see what you're judging. I will judge you by what you judge because you're afraid of that which you are judging. Or you hate that. You still have not made a communion of understanding. Not that you have to be with what you're judging, but that's what you hate most about yourself because you're not daring yourself to express, for example, what's colloquial to repress. So I'm not going on internet crying like Megan and Harry doing therapy online. I wouldn't even do it on the therapy groups in my house because my mother was the organizer and we have very rich customers. They're very rich in our country. So I could talk about other things and relations, but I would never talk about my mother because she was the organizer. I'm not gonna trash my mother in front of this is so beneficial for people to continue trashing and making money out of trash. But what people have, they have poor choices. That's the only thing we have to pick from is to shit all over others and promote rapery, promote murdering women, promote insults, pretend that you're supporting them. So they talk about it, but you would never put a word on it or allow to send them to jail or a word or a character, a person to tell them you are being filmed. People know what you do. This is going to happen if you continue. Just from the heart, just like that, because I have to tell you something that I don't find a way to talk around it in a polite manner. But I have seen it in one of my stories. Oh, my exquisite delicatessen. So I kind of like so much children, even the person being so old and rich as a Getty. Like, well, it's like if we be given its bows of poverty, because it can, in its nature, is normal, and all the people that hide these secrets are not. It's normal. I'm not saying that the Getty do that, but I have seen someone like these characteristics, and it's not only a ring; it's a belief. They share this secret, this exquisite, forbidden fruit that is normalized and passed. But through many political generations, from the times of Alexander the Great. These are long stories, Long stories. People don't know where these stories come from. The god of Apollo or Hermes would favor the children. I think it was Apollo. He would favor the children, meaning by rape. They were raped. Because Apollo is the god of the sun rays, sunlight. He would be uh, he's the god of the arts and providence. It's a long way to go with this story, so you have internet to study if you want. Spend your decades studying, create your characters, and bring life to your studies and have fun with it without judging. And forget about yourself that you cannot role play and enter into virtual reality if you're to have points or be no, this has nothing to do with real life, all right? These are laws. You like it or not. You can create your own organism in this infinite world. It's not it. It's not the metaverse. You want to be omnipotent, so it's never going to work. It's going to perish. It has a limited time to live and die. Maybe you were used, maybe you let go and allow its form to take the shape that it needs so it becomes real for the laws that are reasonable to protect itself and the wilderness of imagination in the fantasy fictional parallel world from this real life. That has to be totally, as the man of the library said, the library that I normally go, which he's a gentleman, and I love to see him. And all gentle. I love gentlemen. My father is a gentleman. Some people confuse. It's like, really, you think that I like assholes? I don't like any. I don't like assholes. Um, I don't like assholes. I like men that are very sweet, that are very smart, or at least if I don't find them, because I lost my status quo, they are just sexy, just for sex, because that's it. That's what you can deal with. So you deal with the necessities you can deal accordingly. So it's also a perversion. So, anyways, I mean, it's a perversion to go with stupid, sexy people because they make you more horny. The stupider they are, you don't want to think anymore. You can you can try everyone, not just physically or sexually, but spiritually. Not from a book or from internet. But your work will go faster and smoother. What I like about Biden is like he has his last years to live, and he's living life fully, not because he's the president of United States of America, which is a lot of power. I said a lot, not all the power of the world as leaders, because you're leading yourself to hell. Being in hell would be better, because at least you know you're in hell. You don't know you're in hell because you're among the lost souls fighting to breathe again in a like punishment of eternal last breath in a river that never stops flowing. Delusion, in a delusion after delusion, thinking that you can get away by not paying taxes, by not paying honor and contribution to the spiritual system, the system of belief that is multi universal. Yes, it's not your meta bullshit. It is said that paying in hell is better than being a lost soul among the waters of the river Styx, because at least you know that you are in hell, but you don't even know where you are. You're living in a delusion with no values. All of you corrupted people on this earth are lost souls. Just as the prostitutes and drug addicts who don't pay taxes, the same, in the same category. Scheming out how you're gonna get this money from the bank, from the delusional system of belief that yeah, take more drugs, right? Because that's how it works. Yeah, let's be positive. I'm positive. And then fight again to breathe again. All you do, because you are every day. You could lose it, but being totally dead is better. You're not even fully alive, not fully dead. Doesn't mean that you are the river Styx. It's very different. A river Styx, first of all, is empty inside. And it's not just a nymph, but it's a goddess. It's not just the nymph of this river. But in Greek mythology is a form of thinking that we are we must all pass through this river accordingly. It should be with our vessel. The vessel is the part, I will say, because I've studied so much, is like the part in the brain that gives you the drive. And that is the ferryman. So you don't have one without the other. The rush of the river, that which unites you all, but at the same time, in the spiritual and in the material world, you have a communion and an understanding when you are in hell, when you are in heaven, when you can understand all the emotions, when you can understand all the values in this world, and what is the best way to bring it down simultaneously together. Yeah? Because I have to transaction with this person, so he gives me the number of the books of the Purgatory and Paradiso from Dante Alighieri, because he got jealous. Yeah, he got jealous. Oh, people don't like these books, and then I said, don't pick these books anymore because I was only asking for the Paradiso, and then I find out there was also Purgatory, because in the system it didn't appear the others. So, well, whatever. I don't know why, but so you deal with it. You say, well, this person hates all these stories. I just want my book, right? You have a position you shouldn't have in this library because they're giving power to people like you, and you're not being monitored or regulated. And not even I treat people like that in where I work, because I'm providing a service. Imagine And this you have to deal with everywhere you go here. That's why I go to the supermarket in the night here. I have stores that are open 24/7. The vegetable store is open 24/7. Just go take it. Joke with the guys from India. You have this conflict, deal with it. You would know you are in hell. You would know hell would be better, because at least you know. You know. So, this is a storytelling. Doesn't know it's true. You know you're in hell. Yeah? You have all these drug addicts in the streets. Because now people are filming, yeah? People around the world. Oh, Hollywood. No, no. I say people like, America's not like these movies from Hollywood, right? No, no. Like, no, 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 no. What do you think? No, don't go there. What do you think? You're going to get a cool boyfriend there? No, no, don't go there. No, don't go there. Like, yeah. So, well, yeah, they're gonna like you a lot because you look like a rapper that comes from this video clip in Europe. They have no idea. But now with internet, you're going straight to hell. You have a potential to create with the best people of this world. I would say, well, but there are a lot of talented people around this world like me in United Kingdom. So this been positioned by important people in my life who has always given me clues and life experience in my life, which has been always United Kingdom my base after Spain by choice and by preference of my father. Also prefer British among all of them, and it was a big argument because, well, there's been many stories around me with, and also as a child, and I was raised very rich, so it's not that I have this that I want to be here because I will be better economically. I was raised as the very rich, and yeah, they had a few possessions, but not as like 500 acres of land. And these things were not as a person that I am from many generations. But still, I love this country for many reasons. Being a colony in European, it needs to heal, it needs to recover. I think it needs to be honored. Everything that's been given from England, from Spain, from the colonies, all these stories have to end. No. I said, no, well, actually, they were under earth. So you have these first explorers, anthropologists, and all this excavating just to find out these treasures. So now they have universities. Now they know how to do it. Now they can find it. So they're here in the museum, and everyone can come around the world and see everything from around the world. But you're still neglecting parts of your country. You're not taking care of it to maintain your architecture. So don't blame it for those who came there to teach you the values that you have, and don't call them thieves. Because they're always thieves. So we're trying to get more medium between our transactions and our relationship, our forms of talking. This is what we're doing. Without understanding these hierarchies and different verses around the world and the multiverse, just the word multiverse. Multi-universe is from the scientists. It has nothing to do with the multiverse. There scientists starting to say now they invented the multiverse because all these perverts are hacking me. That's what perverts do, right? You share the same perversions and secrets. Is this nice? One can be very nice, but you have to go there, right? In the darkness and the dirt. So you look at it. You want to produce this again? It does not come to formation because you don't have it. You have the consciousness to become aware of it. 'Cause I'm not cleaning your ass. Enjoy cleaning yourself. Enjoy meditating. Enjoy getting into dirty characters. This is not the way I speak normally. And this is going to end. What better things to do? So it will be defined. It will be or one way or another. It will be, as I said before, that China has deal and said yes, but they can also be because who is secure? Because nobody's gonna clean your ass. Nobody wants to clean anyone's ass. Who wants to pay for all this damage? So all these things, like, well, like, why would I want to, invest on this destruction? It's like marrying an abusive pedophile. Why would I want to reproduce children like that? Like, yeah, la 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 la. No. And then, of course, you will need to drink and take drugs and creating your own little world to get out from this madness, which is supposed to be good because it's been good through so many generations. Yeah, you fight, you win. You fight, you win. And somebody always loses. All the sports are being like that. None of you have played and understand what is the multiverse, how it plays. You can have a scratching idea, and you can just, but you're never gonna get it like this. All right. So the more you follow this pantomimes, is about keep the show running. There are mysteries that are never to be told for a reason. So that's the mystery of healing. I always thought I'm not going to be there meditating next to, like, I don't do things that other has done. No, not because I'm better, because I'm not that of a good person. I really, like, no, I'm not gonna die with cancer meditating there next to the Vatican, because the Vatican has a lot of spiritual power around the world. So they innovate. Like, nearly all of them died with cancer young, beautiful people doing Tibetan healing because it's been so stagnated. But still, in the 90s, right? Like, if there's someone alive to say there's evidence that is true, and it's beautiful to see it come now because they're giving them lives, and for certain they must be immortal, and they have given something that is flourishing today. And I could see the playfulness with the press, and is something that is contagious in the air. That is okay. That is learned from other people as well, as we are sharing something that is supposed to not be through vanity, but through the forms of our expression in that measure. So that which is healing and is passing from one another. But the pathology is gonna always return. And you will always need healing from another. It will happen again. I'm not saying to change the Bible. You should never change the celibate people who give them lives to a spiritual path. But it is time to create the third part of a Bible. And I will keep praying. I'm not best. I mean, I cannot write with people who don't role play and are hackers and they're masturbating and using my art form. I'm writing worse and worse, and I am utterly disgusted because no one is getting anything out of this. So the true healing happens with your own consciousness, not because someone is healing you, right? Um, Many of my meditations and sometimes in life just scream that I don't want to die. 'Cause I don't want to do that work. Yeah, I don't want to die doing that work. No. Bye.